So 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 7 is the definition of love. And the love story takes on this definition not only for ourselves, but also for the character of God or higher power or universe. Meaning, like, God is love. I'm sorry, God is patient with us. God is kind towards us. God does not delight in evil, but rejoices in the truth. But so the first concept is that there is this entity that is with you always, that is in constant love towards you, the journal artist. So the one sentence summary of the concept is that God is defined in what 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 7, and that we will be like God through the same 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 7. We believe that that definition will, when acted out, when followed through action and discipline, we will not only arc our stories from a tragedy into divine comedy, but we will arc our character in the process of pursuing patience and kindness and knots and love always, which is the four. So patience, kindness, and all the knots and all the always. Like,
Okay.
love always endures, always bears all things, hopes all things, believes all things, endures all things.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Gotcha.
let's see.
For the most part, I was following that until we got into discussing the thing about arcing our stories and the tragedy versus divine comedy and arcing the characters. Those were other topics that I was also hoping to get some more clarity on later. Um, Outside of that, it sounds like when we follow the scripture of 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 7, that it evokes some kind of positive change that we'll get into the weeds on what exactly that means for us as members of the love story further down the line. Does that sound about right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
You know, a quick thing I just realized. So it's 13 verses. There's 13 verses that define love. Love is
Okay.
patient, love is kind. But see, these two, although it sounds simple, it's actually life transforming, and it is a discipline in and of itself. Take,
Mhm.
for example, patience.
Right.
Patience, another word for it is long suffering. Why? Because there's people in our lives that are in some kind of mud or some kind of stagnation, and because we love them, we want them to get out of it ASAP, but they
Yeah.
need to go through their own process. it
Hmm.
they need to spiral if they need to spiral, and it
Yeah.
because free
People
will.
have to heal on their own time.
Exactly. And because free will is such a powerful and integral part of love, not even God can move someone's free will without their free will,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. So, love is being patient for that person's process, even if
Hmm.
that process is currently going nowhere, or even if
Right.
that process is like backtracking, right? So we suffer, the one that loves the person that's suffering, we suffer as a result of the waiting on them to
Mhm.
heal.
Right.
So patience is actually a discipline, a kind of disciplinary suffering. It is
Hmm.
suffering by choice. It's conscious suffering. Um,
Hmm.
it is the awareness of what is and
Mhm.
being able to accept what is as what is. And that is
Mhm.
patience. And patience is
Okay.
a hard and simple discipline.
Right.
It's an integral part of love.
Right. Okay, gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah.
I
So
like it.
you'll know when someone is loving or not loving based on
Yeah.
that litmus test of patience. Like, are you
Mhm.
patient? Are you patient?
Right.
You're not patient, then you're not being,
Can you be chill?
yeah, you're working on your shadow, not your spirit, because the spirit is always patient, right? Um,
Right.
and same with kindness. Kindness has its own discipline. Kindness is, um, gosh, there's like shades of kindness. Kindness
Mhm.
is truth, but kindness is also covering of shadows, covering of shame, covering of secrets. You know,
Mhm.
like if someone like a best friend came up to you and told you her secret that she's ashamed about, and you told the whole class, you're not kind, right?
No, no.
So kind is a kind of covering as well.
Okay.
Kindness is also knowing when to speak truth to someone and how to do it. Um, it's not through condemnation, but through compassion. And
Right.
like the thing with patience and kindness is we get really micro with it for
Right.
4 and 5, because Act 4 is all about patience and Act 5 is all about kindness. Act 6 is all about the nots. So not envy, not boast, not
Mhm.
delight in evil, but rejoice with the truth. So it's like learning
Mhm.
how to not act on the shadow, which is what I'm working on right now. It's very tough. Um, let's see. So the we have to look at all 13 verses as the keystone of the love story.
Mhm.
The love story is broken down into tragedy and divine comedy.
Mhm.
And the only way you can arc a tragedy into a divine comedy is if
Mhm.
you're able to arc the character that's telling the story from
Okay.
a di- from from non-loving ways to loving ways. Patience is processing the shadow. Kindness is facing the shadow.
Mhm.
It's these are all ways in which we deal with the shadow. It's through patience and kindness. And it's a roadmap on how to integrate the shadow. So when
Okay.
you are in the discipline of patience and kindness, you are actually and simultaneously integrating the shadow and laughing at your pain in a good way,
Mhm.
not in
Yeah. If
like a
you don't laugh, you'll cry kind of way.
yeah, yeah. Like just kind of making light of what's heavy, in a good way, in a healthy way.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.